I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate. We're back again with another preview video. This time we have Swatch from Minerva Games. Swatch is a card game in which you will be placing your meeple underneath the card that you want to take either into your hand or play for an action. And essentially what you'll be doing is trying to gather different colors of cubes, which you will then mix into different colors of discs, which you will use to buy certain Swatch cards. It's a race game in which you are trying to beat all the other players, trying to complete your scheme card before anyone else. Let's take a look at it on the table.
All right, I have Swatch from Minerva Games on the table here. Let me go over this really simple card game with you guys. Bare bones, Swatch is a game in which you are going to be taking your meeple, placing it underneath these cards out here to take the different kinds of actions, trying to get these cubes over here on this side to eventually exchange into these discs over here on this side that you will use to pay for these Swatch cards up here at the top. If you can get the right combination of Swatch cards to fulfill your scheme card, then you will possibly win the game. Let me go over in a little more detail how this all works. Everybody will have a meeple that they will have throughout the course of the game, and you're going to place your meeple underneath one of these cards that are in the active row. So at the beginning of the game, the active row is this top row here. And everybody will do this, taking turns placing their meeple one at a time underneath one of these cards. These cards give you actions that you can use. Cards that are solid, a solid color like this, tell you to add a certain number of the color of the card. So for instance, this card says add 5 cyan. And so I would take 5 of those cubes and add them to my supply, my pool, which you just keep right in front of you. Cards that look like this allow you to swap one of your cubes for any one of the other colors of cubes. And you can swap between yourself and the supply, the general supply, or you can swap with another player, essentially taking one of theirs and giving them one of the ones you don't need. The third and final type of card in this game are the mix cards, and they have the other set of 3 colors in the game, red, green, and blue. And what you do with these cards, you are going to exchange the cubes that you have, trying to mix them together to form one of the different colors of discs. So as you can see on this card, magenta and yellow make red, yellow and cyan make green, cyan and magenta make blue. And you have to do the full number on the card. So I would have to mix 3 of one of these colors with 3 of one of these colors to create 3 of these particular discs. Has to all be the same. So I have to do 3 magenta with 3 yellow to make 3 red, or 3 yellow with 3 cyan to make 3 green, 3 cyan with 3 magenta to make 3 blue. You can't mix and match there. Anyhow, whatever card, whatever meeple, wherever you put your meeple under that card, you will either, again, do the action on the card, in which case you would discard 2 right there, or let's say the white player goes next and they're going to go under this card. You can keep that card in your hand and not play it, but save it for a later time, because after you place your meeple, you can do an optional action. So let's say the purple player is going to go next, and let's say they're going to go right here, but before they do anything with this yellow card, they are going to play a card that they had in hand first, and that card can let them do whatever action is on it. That's optional. You don't have to do that. But you do have to do something with the card that you placed under, again, either taking it into your hand or playing it for the action. Once everybody has gone, then the order that the meeples are currently in will determine the player order for the next round. And as you can see here, this is the row that we would be going on next. After we played through this round, then we would go on to this row. And once we have completed this round, we would go back up to the top. And you refresh the rows as you go along. That way you always know what's coming ahead, and that is how that works. Now, the player who went last in a round, so let's say that this carried out and we took some actions here like so. The white player would be last in this case, and then they would have a choice. They could either take one of the remaining cards in the active row, or they could choose to skip ahead and go to the next row, taking a card from there. If they were to do so, let's say for instance they came down here, they would get to play this card. They get to deal with it. However, they would be last in the next round as well, because we would look at this row to determine player order. Orange would go first, then purple, and then it would come down to white, and then white would get to go. So that's how that works. Now, again, what you're doing with these discs that you get from mixing the different colors of cubes that you have gained throughout the course of the game is that you are trying to use those discs to get these swatch cards up here. These swatch cards come in 6 different piles numbered 1 through 6. And the tops of the cards show you the combination of cubes that you will need in order to obtain the number of discs of each color. So for instance, this card here needs 4 red, 1 green, and 2 blue. And to get that combination, it would require 3 cyan, 6 magenta, and 5 yellow. Once you would have this on your turn, you can exchange these discs to claim this card. And you would flip the card over and you would read out to the group the color, Bubblegum Charlie. And you would keep that over in your pool. And you are trying to fulfill the scheme card that was dealt to you at the beginning of the game. Now these are prototype. Again, everything you see here is prototype, by the way. These are just paper. They will actually be real cards in the real game. But it will tell you the combination that you are trying to get. So for instance, this particular scheme, Sunset Meadow, tells you need to have a card from deck 1, deck 2, and deck 3. They're all different. Sometimes they're more than one of the same number. This one says 1, 3, 5, and 4, 5, 6. You guys can get the idea here. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all different. And this is kept secret. It's hidden. No one knows what's on your scheme card. Only you know. But once somebody has taken a scheme card, then the one underneath it is going to be a different combination of red, green, blue. So if you don't get your scheme card quickly, someone could take it out from underneath you, and you might be in a world of trouble. So the game continues until someone has completed their scheme card, at which point they will announce, yes, I have completed my scheme card. I've gotten all my swatches that I need. However, I have leftover resources. In order to fully win the game, I not only have to complete my scheme card, but I have to be void of all the resources. You cannot have any cubes or leftover discs. And so at the end of your turn, let's say I'm the orange player here, at the end of my turn, I would place my meeple at the end of a row to indicate I don't have anything left to do. I just want to get rid of these cubes. And so you would place at the end of the row and discard one of your remaining cubes or discs. Being at the end of the row here, you are going to go last in the next round. That's kind of a catch-up mechanic, allowing the other players to possibly catch back up. In which case, if they complete their scheme cards, then it's a race to see who can get rid of their resources quickest. And so this is a game of efficiency. I want to complete my scheme card as quickly as possible, but doing so with the fewest amount of resources, because I don't want a lot of resources left over at the end of the game. The player who can do that first is going to be the winner, and that is how you play Swatch.
All right, so there you have it. You guys have a good idea of what Swatch looks like and how it works. Right now we're going to share our thoughts on it. Sam, what do you think about Swatch?
I liked it. It's very easy to understand, so I think it's good for non-gamers, and even maybe younger gamers too.
Yeah.
So it's an easy game. It was a unique concept. It's not something that we had seen before in any other games. So it's good. I think I had a hard time the first time, coming up with like my strategy. And I definitely forgot the rule that at the end you want the least amount of.
You want to be efficient.
Yeah, I was not efficient. I just got as many cubes as I could and then mixed them. And it worked really well as far as me getting my cards. Mm-hmm. But I lost because I was not efficient.
Yeah, this game is in the same vein as other games out there, like perhaps Splendor or Century Eastern Wonders, Golem Edition. You know, those types of games in which you are trying to complete actions to get resources to get a card or to complete some sort of goal. Except in Swatch, you want to be efficient. You want to do it without excess resources.
Which Splendor is one of my favorite games, and I'm good at it. So I think I took my knowledge of that game, brought it to this game, and lost badly.
So if you like those types of games, I think you're going to like Swatch for sure.
I do want to play again.
Yeah. It's definitely one that you walk away from having a familiar feeling with if you've played those types of games. But as we're saying, it takes a different type of thinking to wrap your mind around it, an added element of being efficient. And that's fun. That's something that I enjoyed. It's a new challenge that you don't get with those other games. And so, that's something that you're going to experience with Swatch. Now, real quick, I did do the solo play of Swatch, and you can click the eye in the top right corner right here to check out the solo gameplay playthrough of that. And from a solo perspective, it's definitely a fun experience as well. It's one of those ones that gives you a good challenge. It's not the type of solo play where you're trying to beat your high score kind of thing. It gives you an AI opponent to play against, and you can increase the difficulty of that AI opponent so that you can see yourself get better and a more increased challenge there. So Swatch all around, very cool experience. Sam, you would recommend it for non-gamers, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, there you have it. This is Swatch from Minerva Games. It is hitting Kickstarter on September 29th, so be sure to check that out. We will include a link to the Kickstarter campaign in the description of the video down below, so you'll want to check that out. All right, so I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
We are Love to Hate. We try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers, and we think Swatch may be one of those games that can do that for you, so be sure to check it out. Please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. We're putting out content on a daily basis. All right, we'll catch you next time.